What's going on, guys? It's Clutch Plays here, and in today's NBA, the league is absolutely dominated by the players, and it is only increasing by the second. Players can now request a trade from their current team, and the front office is then almost forced to trade them much sooner rather than later to keep the trade leverage. Just this past year, Anthony Davis, Paul George, and Kristaps Porzingis requested a trade, and the number of players who are about to request a trade is only rising. The NBA does not like when this happens. However, at the end of the day, the league has no control over this since it is such a player-first league. To be completely honest, I wouldn't be surprised if 5 or even 6 superstar players request a trade this season. Before I get into this video though, this video is not meant to trash any franchises, but rather saying which players could easily be unhappy with their role on their team, or just upset with the amount of losing their team has gone through. Now that I got that out of the way, here are the 5 players that are about to request a trade. Number 1, Devin Booker. Devin Booker has been a flat-out star suffering on a Phoenix Suns team that struggled to find a point guard for the past 2 seasons. As this past season was coming to an end, Devin Booker was getting really upset with the Suns because of how comfortable they were with losing. He even went on to say that this is the worst he has seen it. Yeah, the Suns have been awful for a while now with Booker on the team, and if this is the worst he's seen it, I would be scared if I was a Suns fan. Booker has said in the past that he wants to get the Suns their first playoff berth since 2010, and that Phoenix is like home. However, this was a while ago, and a lot has changed. Devin Booker was asked about players requesting trades and controlling their own destinies, and this is what he had to say about it.
Man, I actually enjoyed it. I think that's why it's the greatest show on earth. You have so many competitive guys in one league that, want to be the best. And I think it's to the point now where the players are figuring out, you have more power than you thought you had. So I've talked to guys around the NBA all the time. It's their future. It's nobody else's life, and whatever you want to do with that moving forward is up to you. For a player to do something that he wants to do, I totally respect it.
So Booker is clearly okay with players requesting trades to do what's best for themselves, and maybe leaving Phoenix may be best for himself. This year they had the 6th pick in the draft where they could have taken their point guard for the future to pair with Booker, but instead they traded for the 11th pick in Dario Saric. Saric is a decent power forward who averaged 10 points and 5 rebounds, but he's going to be a free agent next year asking for a pretty hefty contract. With the Suns roster right now, it's nowhere near playoff contention. You don't want to be throwing your money at Dario Saric. In the draft with the 11th pick, the Suns reached so hard on Cam Johnson, who is projected to go in the 20 to 25 pick range. In the Suns' defense, Cam Johnson is 23 years old, so he's very NBA ready and was debatably the best pure shooter in the draft. Fast forwarding to NBA free agency, Devin Booker actually told the Suns front office that he wanted them to sign D'Angelo Russell. Devin Booker doesn't ask for much, and the one time he asked for something, he asked for the Suns to sign the biggest up-and-coming point guard in the entire NBA. This seems like a no-brainer. The Suns get their star point guard, a position they desperately need, and they also keep their star player happy. But instead, the Suns signed Ricky Rubio for $17 million a year for 3 years, only about $10 million per year less what they would have had to give D'Angelo Russell. The worst part about this whole situation was the reasoning behind not signing D'Angelo Russell, which was because the Suns were scared he was going to be a bad influence on Devin Booker. A bad influence? Like, are you serious? The Suns are treating Devin Booker like a little kid. And one player who left their team because they were being like a little kid was, Kevin Durant. The Suns recently signed Monty Williams, who was an incredible signing, and they have a young core 1 year improved, so there is definitely hope. This season, or even next season, if the Suns get off to an awful start to the season, which is very likely in the West, don't be surprised if trade rumors begin to rumble and Devin Booker wants out of Phoenix. The Suns need to do something now, and the clock is ticking, so get working on it! Number 2, KarlAnthony Towns. This one is where things get very interesting because Cat is already a top 3 center in the NBA and only 23 years old. I feel for T-Wolves fans, and out of any of the players on the list that I want to stay, I would say it's Cat, but the way things are going down in Minnesota, it's not looking pretty. In the past 4 seasons with Cat, the T-Wolves have only made the playoffs 1 year with Jimmy Butler, which resulted in a first-round exit. Minnesota finished last as a lottery team, even with Cat putting up the best numbers in his career. The issue with this team is they don't have much room to improve since Andrew Wiggins is locked up on a huge contract going into the 2022-2023 NBA season. Cat, along with Gorgie Dang, are also on big contracts, giving the T-Wolves little cap flexibility for the future. On top of this, Minnesota is not the most attractive free agency destination, so even with money, they will need to slightly overpay some players to join their team. Their roster is currently a mess and absolutely nowhere close to winning, and won't be for a good 3 to 4 years or so, mainly because they're in the West. As the losing continues in Minnesota, don't be surprised if Cat and his camp leak out that he is unhappy about playing in Minnesota sooner rather than later so he can play somewhere else to avoid the losing ahead. The T-Wolves have been one of the teams looking to trade for Russell Westbrook and many other players, but I don't think they are willing to mortgage their future to do so. As I said earlier, I hope the best for the relationship of Cat and the T-Wolves, but they're going to have to pull some major strings to make it work. Number 3, Russell Westbrook. Currently, it is not confirmed that Russell Westbrook has officially requested a trade out of Oklahoma City, but they are working together to do what is best for the future of Russ and the team. The Thunder have said that they want to get a deal done sooner rather than later, but if they find no team that is willing to give up what the Thunder want, look for Russ to put the pressure on the Thunder by saying he wants out at all costs. I do think these two sides will work together, but this could quite possibly happen because Miami is the front runner. Thunder shouldn't trade him there because they will have 2 of their future first round picks. The other destinations other than the Heat probably need a third team if the Thunder want to get the max value for Russ and picks and young players. This could slow down the process a lot, and Russ may want to join his new team very quickly, so watch out for him to publicly request a trade. Number 4, Bradley Beal. The Wizards are in a very weird spot because they want to extend Bradley Beal, but at the same time they are trying to rebuild their roster. Bradley Beal has done so much for Washington, D.C. and was recently given an award for his off-the-court work and does not want to leave that all behind, but it sadly may be time. Recently, Bradley Beal said this about his future with the Wizards. "I have thought about it, but I haven't really full-out processed it. I still have 2 years left, we just drafted Rui, and I want to see what we do in free agency before I make the ultimate decision. I haven't been offered it officially, the extension. Until that happens, I'll wait and think about it. It would be great to play in one place forever, but at the same time you want to win and make sure you're in a position to do so. Definitely going to evaluate who we hire as the GM and who we pick up on the team in free agency. All that plays a factor." These sound like very promising words from the Wizards' perspective, but the Wizards haven't done anything to help their chances at winning. Oh wait, my bad, they signed Isaiah Thomas and Ish Smith. This does not seem very promising, and when a new GM comes in and sees the mess that is going on in Washington, Bradley Beal may be traded for young picks and players. On the other hand, the Wizards did absolutely nothing to try and put pieces next to Bradley Beal to try and win this season. This team just got worse and are going to be a bottom 5 team in the NBA for sure, even with Bradley Beal on their team. Once the season starts and Beal has absolutely no help once again this season, look for him to request a trade out to a team who can actually use his help to win a championship or even make the playoffs. Once again, the Miami Heat have been interested in him and may look to make a move if possible. Number 5, Blake Griffin. This past season, Blake Griffin absolutely won the hearts of the Detroit Pistons fans over because he played with a horrible injury in the playoffs. This honeymoon may come to an end very soon as the Pistons struggled to make the playoffs last year as an 8 seed and may have trouble making the playoffs again. They added Derrick Rose and Tony Snell this offseason, but that's about it, and that's not going to make you any better really. I'm sorry. Blake Griffin has already been frustrated about losing with his Pistons team, as last season he was very mad when the Pistons were sitting at a 22-27 record. In this upcoming season, he could show very similar emotions. Even trade rumors were leaking out, which I don't know if they were true or not. Hopefully they weren't for Pistons fans' sake, but who knows. The Pistons will be in the same spot as last year since their team did not make any major improvements, so if the Pistons get off to a bad start, look for Blake Griffin to get upset and request a trade out of Detroit. Even though he really does love the city and the franchise, one thing he likes even more is winning, and once he sees that Detroit is losing again, he will be frustrated again and most likely want out. Tell me what your thoughts are on this video and if it seems legit and if there are any players you think that I left off of the list. Once again, don't take offense if your favorite players were on there because they have not been traded yet and there is still some hope that they won't be. Now if you enjoyed this video, please let me know down below in the comments. With that said, I'm out and peace!